again, thank you so much. I know you are a busy individual, and I'm so pleased that you've taken the time to share with us your story. But part of the working title for this project is democracy, advocacy and activism, and you actually tick all three of those boxes. But I want to talk about your activism and the work that you've been doing surrounding Stop and Search.
Okay, that's fine. I'll be happy to share that with you.
Okay, so tell us. I mean, we know your story, but just tell us a little bit about your background. I mean, I know you lived in Haringey for quite a few years.
Yes, right. I came to England with my five brothers and two sisters. I was 5 years old back in 1964, so you can then work out my age from there.
We can work out your age, yeah. It's okay.
In doing so, I thought, going into school, I thought I was no different to my white cousin in the same peer group. But, because I wanted to do the same thing, same free-spirited as them. But I found that when it came to the age of 14, and I had to then, we had to choose, see the career teacher as to what career we want to see ourselves going forward. And I came up with something, I want to be an astronaut.
Okay, that's right. Your aspirations as a child, what you wanted.
I want to be an astronaut.
Yes.
And only if I had that knocked out of me by the teacher telling me that don't be silly, because there's no black astronaut. And
imagine, the scary thing about what you've just said, that careers advisor probably has told quite a few other children as well what they can't do. But I want to talk to you about your run-ins with the police, because we know that young black men are constantly stopped, searched, harassed. I remember back in the days going out with my brother, many a time we see the police, you had to run, jump. I remember coming home from parties, having to hide behind a bush. I remember that until the old blue wagon would go by. I remember being stopped.
Let me say this much to you. First of all, what you happen, and you're not disrespect, but you're a woman. But being a man, a black man, here in Haringey, being brought up, through the sus law and being picked on at the age of 16, 17 and arrested for stealing from person unknown, what that actually adds up to, there's no victim. But
that's interesting. That's right.
Well, that's what it was.
Person unknown is there is no victim.
The victim. And so, what it is for two police officers to come to court and said, yes, he was about to go and steal from that person or do X, Y, and Z. So then they're telling me what was in my head that I was about to do before anything happened. And on the strength of that, I end up getting 6 weeks in a youth offending
with no
institution.
Evidence, nothing.
On the sus law.
That someone's supposedly going to do something before no criminal act. Like you said, there's been no victim. No act has taken place. This is on the suspicion that somebody's going to do something.
That's right.
But when did the sus law actually...
It stopped in 1981 after the Brixton riot.
It stopped in 1981,
the Brixton riot.
Well, we still had...
And so what they've done between 81 and 84, there was like an interim where they had
tell us the timeline, because it's really important.
They came back from 1700s.
That's right.
That went all the way through up until 1981, the Brixton riots, Railton Road, which was caused by the overzealous use of the law.
Of the mind-reading law.
That's right, the mind-reading law. And so to the right, and then they had no stop and search laws in between while that was being reviewed. And in 1984, the stop and search as we know it now came to fruition. It came as out of the sus law. So if you have a racist law and then you've then made something else, give it a different title but the same focus, why would you expect to get a different outcome? Yeah. So in other words, they're just fooling with us. Hold on, but you just had the sus law, you got rid of it because it was agreed it was a racist law.
But you're saying it was never got rid of. Right. Tell us about the incident that you got involved where you had to challenge the police. I know a lot of black men were criminalised.
The simple fact is that I got deeper into the criminal justice system, right? Because I thought to myself, well, if you're going to deal with me with something I didn't do, I might as well go out there
and do
something. But that was, that's a mindset that I'm now very mindful of because, again, that's the victim mindset. Because look what happened. That's happened in 79 in 2004 when to tell you about the incident, as I stopped to this I come through Seven Sisters Station, walking through there, then I saw that the British Transport Police were doing one of their operation where they have all the revenue and revenue people.
I remember
you
the
see
days.
it, and you've got the dog, the sniffer dog, and then you've got people, all police milling around. And I happened to see this young man being, pulled aside, about 19 years old. And, what concerned me is that you see so much police around him, tagging away at him, tugging. But 8, 9, tugging away at him. I said, what was going on? Police come to me, do you know him? I said, no. We said, well, go and F off.
What was your response?
I said, listen, mate, I know my rights. I don't have to move. And he said, well, look, if you don't move on, I'm going to nick you. And then he called his mate over and he said, I've just assaulted him by pushing him. Anyway, I ended up spending 4 or 5 hours in the police station. But anyway, so what happened was, so I just thought, well, it's just outrageous, you know. Anyone
you wasn't
can lie.
accepting it, though?
I wasn't accepting that. But when he went to court, the thing that caught him out is that when he went to court and the barrister asked him the question, did you collude? He said no. So if you didn't collude, how come?
It wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same. So if he said yes, then you're going to say, okay, this is what we did.
Lying to the end.
Yeah, so he lied.
To bring us up to date now, because I really want to tell us about your organisation, what your organisation stands for, why you set it up, and what do you do?
The organisation is called Haringey Independent Stop and Search Monitoring Group, but we call it HISSMG. And simply what we do out there, we hold the police to account as best as we can. We're all a group of volunteers, but the thing is that we've got a passion. And when you've got a passion, you can make things happen. If you've got the mentality that's saying, it's not gonna happen, you know what? It's unlikely to happen. But when you've got a mentality, this isn't right and we're gonna bring about real change, it will happen. You get unsuspected outcomes from your action. No different. One of the resounding cases that I'm notable for is the Julia Roberts, Section 60. Now, beforehand, they used the Section 60, it's a no suspicion, means that they didn't need to have any suspicion about you to stop and search you in a particular area. And the abuse of that was among us.
Changed that?
And we changed it. Now, from at Heights, we had 1.2 million stops and searches. Now it's down to about 165, under 200,000 now.
It was over 1 million?
Yes, 1.2 million back in 2012 and 2013 at its
So
height.
have you changed the law then?
We changed the law. When we changed, not the law, but because of that case, we showed it was racial profiling, they now reduced the use of stop and search of Section 60 by 99%. All I try to do is try to bring because there's no alternative to engagement. But I realise is what terms and conditions you put on engaging. Because I can do all the work I need to do with my community, empowering them, giving them the knowledge.